We are talking today with Steve Fritz, president of VF Outlet in Wyomissing. Steve, thanks for taking time to talk with us today.
Absolutely, Dan.
We are coming up into the holiday season. I would imagine this is the busy time of year for this facility. What are you expecting this year?
Really what we're expecting is probably a little better business than last year. I think the first thing to point out is VF Outlet, we're located in 34 states around the country. So while this is our home base, that's still our largest store, it makes up a fairly small percentage of our overall volume. So I think one of the things I'd point out is, we're in many major outlet malls around the country. Outlet malls will be very busy this holiday season, we think. Outlets have held up very well through the recessionary period and have a good business trend going this year. Reading isn't always indicative of our business elsewhere. Reading has its own set of challenges, I think, from the terms of traffic and business in general.
Right.
But overall, our business is very good this year. We're having a very nice year.
Why did outlets do well during the recession?
Great value. I think customers like great value, so they shop at outlet centers anyway. I think whenever the economy turned down, people wanted even better values. So as a result of that, they turned to outlet centers and even greater numbers. If you look at really from 2008, 2009, 2010, outlet centers were the best single performing class of retail commercial real estate. And there's a lot of people who actually are entering the outlet business now from a commercial real estate standpoint that weren't in the business. There's some full price retail.
Is that more competition for you?
No, we're not in the development business. When I say that, it's more really along the lines of more developers are entering the business with the desire of building more outlet centers. So it should actually work out well for those of us who are retailers in the outlet business. It'll
allow you to expand potentially?
It will give us more opportunity to expand. Yeah, there's about 200 outlet centers in the country today, so there's a few more. There's like 35 to 40 new ones planned in various stages. So hopefully the more people, more developers that are interested, the more opportunities there are.
Are there certain parts of the country that you're not in now that you would like to be in if this growth goes the right way?
Well, where we're not on the West Coast. We've traditionally done extremely well in the East, the Midwest, down into Texas. We're very heavily penetrated in Texas and Florida, for example. We don't use the Mississippi River as a boundary, but we don't have many stores west of the Mississippi River. And where we're not is in California. We have one store in California. So California is a market that, as we progress, we may get more aggressive, but for now, I'd say our major focus will probably still stay east of the Mississippi River, and there will be some more markets. Chicago, we're not particularly penetrated in the Chicago, Wisconsin, Minnesota market, so we'll probably be looking a little more in that area.
Do you have the same basic core set of retailers in each location, or does it vary a little bit?
Well, again, I think this is we only own two developments today. We own this development here, and we own one up in North Dartmouth, Massachusetts, and that's the only places where we're actually a developer. Everywhere else, we just rent a store like everyone else does.
Okay.
We operate a store of about 25,000 square feet on average, and then we're mixed in with a traditional mix of outlet tenants. If you look at the center in Limerick, or if you look at centers in Lancaster, which we're in Lancaster, that's more representative of our business today than Reading is. Reading is a very unique store. This is a one-off. We don't operate anything this big anywhere else in the country.
Okay. What's your sense of the consumer confidence at this point, 4 years away from the recession?
I think consumers are a bit more optimistic. I think we've seen it throughout 2012. We started to see it around Christmas time in 2011, and consistently throughout 12, the consumer's been, I think, more confident, more willing to spend, but I think they're very, very cautious. What we see with the consumer is, despite their willingness to shop and perhaps more visits to the malls than they were making a year or so ago, they're still very, very conservative with their spending. You have to offer them a value or they're unwilling to spend. I see a direct correlation whenever we have a sale, have a sort of discounting off, that you'll see an increase, and whenever prices rise as a result of no current sales, you'll see
traffic go down.
Certainly sales go down a bit. The units they buy per transaction. So they come in with a certain amount of money in their pocket, and they're looking for the best value for what they're going to spend. But they are coming out a little more frequently, I'd say, in the last 12 to 18 months than they were from the fourth quarter of 2007 to through the first half of 2011. It was a much different story, much more. You could tell there was a much cautious nature.
So, feeling a little more optimistic about the next year, maybe?
I think we're cautiously optimistic. I would say the last 6 to 8 weeks have been a little slower than the trend. Weather has been a little different than what it was last year. I also think the election always has people maybe a little bit distracted. So there's a lot of pundits. I'm not claiming to be one. There's a lot of pundits that say that, get the election out from under everyone's plate here, and we'll do better here. But Christmas, I think Christmas will be a little stronger than last year. But it's going to be a good Christmas. You just have to be careful.
You and I were chatting a little bit earlier, and you mentioned that you're, as a company, very active on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about what you're doing on Pinterest.
Well, in Pinterest in particular, I mean, it's kind of a fascinating tool, and like many social media tools, you look at them and initially say, what else will this do for you? We thought it would be interesting just as a business tool, even if it, in our case, we have to transmit photos of what we want our store managers to do around the country, and we're located around the country, and in many cases, it's easier to send a picture of what we want a store to look like on Pinterest, post it on Pinterest. It's a great ad if anyone wants to see it from a consumer standpoint, and in the meantime, our store managers then go in and take a look at that posting and say, oh, that's the way I'm going to set the floor now for the next 2 weeks in that particular area. So we think Pinterest is a good tool. From a social media standpoint, anything we put on there certainly is attractive to a customer if they want to come look at it as well.
Are there customers coming to look at it?
There are. I don't know numbers on Pinterest. I know on Facebook we have about 55,000 friends that are pretty active. We get several hundred posts a week, and we respond to every one of them.
And what do they talk about?
Amazing to me well, it shouldn't be amazing, I guess, but 80 to 90% of them are very, very favorable, and they say, hey, love your store. You're our number one store. We love your values. We came 3 hours. We drove 3 hours to your store. So much of it is very, very positive. I'm always impressed by how many friends we have out there.
Have you had to manage negative comments?
I can't speak to any particular ones. I mean, none come to mind. I haven't seen any, and I get letters. I still get letters on occasion that someone's upset, and we respond to all those. But I haven't had any Facebook posts that have come across my desk or have been brought to my attention or we had to manage a negative comment.
You hear that in the world of social media, where you have to manage the negative. You deal with it quickly and emphatically and in a way that resolves whatever the initial complaint was.
Right. We have 2 people that spend a fair amount of their time every day going through Facebook posts, and also we have the VF Outlet girls. We have two of our girls in marketing. They call themselves the VF Outlet girls, and they post kind of a what's up, and they also in turn either or both of them are on Facebook answering every day any sort of post, any sort of questions, that type of thing.
It's probably a little different from the way things were when you started in this business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the PC. I hate to date myself, but there weren't any PCs whenever I got out of college.
Well, we'll let that be the last word, Steve. Thank
Okay.
you for the time today, and good luck this holiday season.
Sure. Thank you very much.